How can we effectively close achievement and opportunity gaps? Well, several years ago, as a new assistant principal, I walked through the halls of our struggling urban high school with a fellow assistant principal. He confided, "We've tried everything, but our gaps keep widening." This sentiment echoes across districts nationwide as dedicated educators grapple with persistent achievement and opportunity gaps. Despite our best intentions, we often fall short, not for a lack of effort, but sometimes due to a lack of direction. So what are some of the common missteps in addressing gaps? Well, many well-intentioned administrators fall into predictable traps when addressing disparities. The first is what I call the program parade, where new initiatives are continuously implemented without allowing sufficient time for any to take root. Another mistake is addressing symptoms rather than causes, focusing on test scores while overlooking underlying issues such as chronic absenteeism, teacher retention, or inadequate resources. As Peter Drucker wisely noted, what gets measured gets managed. Unfortunately, we often measure the wrong things or measure without proper context. Data without direction merely quantifies our challenges rather than solving them. So what's the solution? Well, I believe it starts with asset-based leadership. You see, effective gap closing, in my opinion, begins with shifting from a deficit to an asset-based mindset. Too often, we view underperforming students through the lens of what they lack, rather than the strengths they bring. When we approached achievement gaps at our school, we began by mapping community and student assets, revealing untapped resources and partnerships that transformed our intervention approach. Remember, students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So building relationships must precede academic intervention. Are there some other effective methods that work? Yes. Research consistently shows that specific approaches yield results. The first one is high dosage tutoring with qualified instructors. When we do that, it can produce significant gains, particularly in mathematics and reading. Now, please keep in mind, this isn't occasional help, but structured and consistent support. The next research-based practice is extended learning time. Now, this time has to be well-designed and engaging, not simply more of the same instruction. When we do this effectively, we can accelerate progress for struggling students. The third is culturally informed teaching methods. These methods connect the curriculum to students' lived experiences, which increases engagement and relevance. Followed by distributing top teaching talent across schools. So rather than concentrating experienced educators in already advantaged settings, we want to distribute that knowledge and those excellent teaching skills across our schools. And last but not least, addressing non-academic barriers through community schools, family engagement, and wraparound services. As the principal for our school, we implemented a data-informed, relationship-driven approach, which resulted in increasing the graduation rate by 41% over 4 years. We did this by aligning these methods with clear accountability structures. So, one of the keys to closing the gap is to go from insight to action. You see, closing gaps requires both courage and consistency. So today, I want to challenge you to first audit your current intervention strategies against evidence-based practices. Ask yourself, are you investing in what works or what's familiar? Next, examine your resource allocation. Does it genuinely prioritize the needs of diverse learners or merely play lip service to them? Followed by, create accountability structures for implementation, not just outcomes. And last but not least, build teacher capacity to serve diverse learners specifically. So as you think about these practices, what is one evidence-based practice that you could implement or strengthen this semester? What barriers to access and opportunity can your leadership team dismantle this year? You see, the gaps we seek to close weren't created overnight, but with focused, persistent effort, they can be eliminated. One student, one classroom, one school at a time. Your students are waiting. What will you do differently tomorrow?